Greetings, I'm Roger Williams. I'm on the board and also treasurer of the Food, Faith, and Farming Network. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is our Seeds of Hope celebration for the Food, Faith, and Farming Network. Our goal tonight is to share several projects that our network has funded through seed money grants and to foster networking between these initiatives, our board, and the wider community. But first, I'd like to share some highlights of our rich and storied evolution as an organization. Our roots are really in the farm crisis of the 1980s, where Midwestern farmers were really struggling to survive. Many farmers had expanded in the 1970s. Then the farm real estate values collapsed and they no longer had the equities to support their loans. Bankruptcies and foreclosures followed. There were farm suicides as well as threats on the lives of bankers, and there were devastating social, emotional, and economic effects in small rural communities. The Sinsinawa Dominican Sisters in the far southwestern corner of the state of Wisconsin invited a group of farmers, faith leaders, and organizations concerned about the well-being of rural areas to a gathering at the Sinsinawa Mound in southwestern Wisconsin. The goal was to find ways of working together to keep hope alive and to nurture the spirit in rural communities. A voluntary organization, the Church's Center for Land and People, or CCLP as we enjoyed calling it, grew out of this meeting in 1989. This organization sponsored regular gatherings and a newsletter aimed at fostering spirituality and hope in the tri-state area of Wisconsin, Illinois, and Iowa. In 2004, CCLP began organizing winter farmers markets in the fellowship halls of faith communities, an initiative designed to bring rural and urban people together, to give farmers an opportunity to generate income in the winter months, give consumers a chance to buy locally and sustainably raised products, and help churches foster community while supporting economic justice for farm families. Those winter farmers markets ran through the last year's winter. They aren't being run this year due to the pandemic. In 2016, after much debate, we changed the name of our organization to the Food, Faith, and Farming Network. There were two reasons for doing this. One is we are more of a network than a center. And secondly, we wanted to relate to people of all faiths, not just Christian denominations. While we changed our name, we remain committed to our values of earth stewardship, community, spirituality, economic justice, and fostering rural-urban relationships. We are also committed to networking with others to build and sustain vibrant rural communities in changing and challenging times. In the spring of 2018, in response to the evolving farm and rural crisis, we launched a rural listening and networking initiative in southwestern Wisconsin to reconnect with communities that were core to our founding and to inform our mission and priorities for the next 3 to 5 years. Over 170 people participated in these listening sessions held in 5 southwestern Wisconsin communities: Monroe, Fenimore, Viroqua, Dodgeville, and Richland Center. We produced a report entitled Looking into the Future of Southwestern Wisconsin, which summarized the results of each of the 5 locations, as well as highlighting the following common themes: addressing food deserts in southwestern Wisconsin, supporting farmers markets in small rural communities, helping local farmers gain access to local food markets, helping create local food systems in rural communities, helping to transition farms and farmers to the next generation, addressing the need for agricultural processing facilities, addressing the need for skilled farm and non-farm labor, and fostering communication between agricultural sectors. We shared the results of these listening sessions at a Harvest of Hope, at a harvest celebration held in Fenimore in the fall of 2018. And we invited southwestern Wisconsin communities to partner with us in seed money projects to offer hope and improve rural life through initiatives related to the issues I just mentioned. 6 interesting and diverse projects were funded in 2019 with financial support from the Sinsinawa Dominicans and the Alliant Energy Foundation. The grants were small, $1,500 or less, But as one person said, we are so used to doing things with nothing, that's $1,500 seems like a lot of money. We were able to fund 9 projects in 2020, thanks again to the Sinsinawa Dominicans and Alliant Energy Foundation. This is another diverse and interesting set of projects that we want to share with you through short videos tonight. And you'll see a listing of those videos on your screen right now. The very first one is the Hill and Valley Exploration Tour. It's a cooperative venture of rural farms, businesses, historic sites, and artist studios that connects rural venues with consumers from both rural and urban settings in Sauk and Richland County. And Lindsay will tee up the video for that, the Hill and Valley Exploration Tour.
The Hill and Valley Exploration Tour is an exciting cooperative venture of rural farms, businesses, historic sites, and artist studios in Sauk and Richland counties that strives to connect rural and urban people in the beautiful hills and valleys of southwestern Wisconsin. The tour is an economic revitalization effort that creates an innovative direct marketing system for food and other rural products in southwestern Wisconsin. Let's enjoy some of the exploration tour virtually and hear directly from the organizers about how they used their seed money grant from the Food, Faith, and Farming Network.
I'm Vicki Baumgarten and part owner of Narrows Creek Winery. Dean and I have been in business here at the winery since September of 2017. And that is also when the Hill and Valley Exploration Tour was born. It's been a fun ride with new merchants coming on every year, and some have come and gone, but we keep expanding, and that is exciting for us. And so the Driftless area is a beautiful, beautiful area, and just full of hills. I love that Hill and Valley has created the Sunday drive again.
So the seed money helps us in a lot of ways. You know, so it isn't just on the farmers, you know, ourselves to kind of fund this, but to kind of further our promotion of this event. It helps us pay for the event guides, which are really a well done piece to help give people the maps they need to find all of these farms out in the country. We've been able to use some of that money in advertising in places like Wisconsin Public Television. I mean, some of those type of advertising doesn't come cheap, and it just kind of helps further put that word out, when we're having events like this. Yeah. And I think what's really important too, for all the people that come out here and drive in the countryside, it's important to provide ways to sustain those of us who live here to provide this beautiful landscape by our work. These fields don't come just by themselves. It's with a lot of hard work with farmers that are, tending to those crops, taking care of those animals. And, projects like this kind of just help promote that cause. And so that's what we want folks when they come out here, to really be able to appreciate all the work that farmers do to provide this beautiful landscape.
We bought it in 2011, and it was just a little local tavern, and what we changed it into, our food concept is all farm to fork. My partner Steve, he grows the beef, and then I cook it. I always say he grows it, I cook it. And we use locally grown vegetables. All the tomatoes are locally grown right now. That's why we have the BLT special, because the tomatoes are so good this time of year. And we do as much as we can with local people without buying their products. We are so grateful for the seed money, and thank you so much for it. It enabled us to invite some, to advertise widelier and to get the word out. And if we couldn't have done that, we couldn't have as good of a tour if we didn't have the seed money to pay for advertising, like Wisconsin Public Radio. That was very expensive, but very well worth it for getting the word out. Sauk County has beautiful scenery, it has beautiful culture, it's wide open, you can breathe freely. It's a great area to live. I believe in collaboration. I believe in community and in working together. So the people who are interested in doing this with me, they're all naturally the same way, because it's a community effort. It's not just my effort and then I get people to follow me. No, it's a community effort. Everyone is the same kind of mindset that this is a very special area. And we're all small businesses, and we don't have the big buying power, but we can combine forces, get some seed money, and that enables us to advertise the group, and the reach is much larger.
Yeah, I'm Nathan Idy. This is my wife, Justina. And this is one of our children, Bodie. And our farm here is actually called Idaho Valley Farm. And the Greener Grass Collective is the larger business end of it, as far as where we sell our products. Well, these boys, our other boy Milo's over on the swings there, they're 6th generation here. And we've been doing this since before we got married, 2012, right? Yep. And we slowly built, and we shifted to grass-fed beef and stuff after my dad sold the cows back in 2000. We've been organic here since 1998.
So when I first came here, I was not expecting the scenery, for one. And I just feel like this area is so beautiful. You can drive through all these hills and valleys and see so many different things that you don't get to see in a lot of places. And I don't know, I think that's very special about this area.
Yeah, and I mean, just the community, like this was,
Yeah,
our first year being involved with the Hill and Valley, and everything was a little weird because of the COVID stuff. So I'm looking forward to a normal year when we can really, have people in the buildings and do farm store type things, and but just getting together with those people, even though I only did it twice in person because of everything, I can really see a positive with that. And I'm used to the driftless. I've been here all my life. But when I brought her here, she was I remember her being like, whoa, it's just so different. But yeah, the topography is one thing, but when you get groups together working towards the same goal in a rural community like this, it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Okay, our next seed money project is the Dodgeville Farmers Market. Amanda Gardner, the market manager, is not able to be with us tonight due to COVID-19, so I will be providing the narrative for her PowerPoint program. Amanda, I want you to know that our thoughts are with you during this difficult time, and I hope you have a chance to view the video on our website. Are you ready, Lindsay? The Dodgeville Farmers Market was started in the 1960s and has been in the same downtown location for over 50 years. A social media presence was established in 2017, and attendance has increased dramatically since then. There are over 600 people on the Facebook page of the organization at this point in time. In 2018, we discussed a double up program where a $5 coupon would be worth $10 for persons who qualify for WIC, SNAP, or senior vouchers. The program was started in 2019 with funding from the United Fund of Iowa County. The $1,200 in funding that we received from the Food, Faith, and Farming Network allowed us to expand the double up program in 2020. $900 was allocated for vendor reimbursement, and $300 was allocated for program publicity. Then the pandemic hit, with the first positive case of COVID-19 in late March in Iowa County. Our market manager met with the Iowa County Health Director about how to open the market safely for vendors and patrons. We opened our farmers market in mid-May. The Double Up program was even more important with many layoffs due to the pandemic in Iowa County. The pandemic posed several challenges. We responded by requiring all vendors to wear facial masks, have barrier tables between vendors and patrons, and not provide food samples or allow patrons to touch food prior to purchase. Vendors were spread out over space, and we provided hand sanitizers, disinfectant sprays, and signage regarding social distancing. High winds, thunderstorms, and intense heat and humidity provided other challenges in 2020, but we saw nearly a doubling in the number of vendors and a huge increase in patrons most weekends. Over 2020, our 2020 Double Up program was very successful with vendor reimbursements increased by $250. Just as important, the market was able to overcome the challenges provided by COVID-19. Planning has started for the market year 2021. Here's a local newspaper article from July 30, 2020, helping to publicize our farmers market and stating that this is the only market in Iowa County that provides the Double Up program. And finally, a warm thank you to the Food, Faith, and Farming Network for allowing us to help our fellow neighbors during this extremely challenging time for so many people. FFFN funding helped many families who wouldn't normally have fresh produce by offering the opportunity to enjoy locally grown goodness. Our next video is the Prairie Street Farmers Market. This is a project aimed at growing the number of vendors and participating shoppers by hiring a marketing and hospitality intern and offering transportation for seniors in Crawford County. Can you key this one up, Lindsay?
Welcome to the Prairie Street Farmers Market, where we make it our mission to bring fresh, locally grown, naturally grown produce and other items to our area residents. Our project, what we were asking for seed money for, was a two-pronged approach. One was to have a driver to bring seniors and other families from local apartment complexes to the market on Saturday mornings. That part of the project has been postponed till next year due to COVID. The other part of our project was to have a marketing and hospitality intern here on Saturday mornings and working marketing related items during the week. And she's been here all summer, and we'll talk to her later. Lydia's been a great asset to us, and we were very happy to have this stipend to be able to give her. Today is October 2nd, and it's about 45 degrees this morning, so we only have two vendors who are willing to participate this morning. We have lovely Luba from Pleasant View Farm, and Luba usually has some of the best produce in Crawford County. Since it's October, the produce is widely done for the summer, but she has canned goods. She has her own honey that they have bees at their house. She has a lot of canned goods made from products from her garden, and a lot of these are special Russian recipes that only Luba knows, but they are delicious. Pleasant View Farm also raises chicken and pork, and they have frozen meat that they sell every week, and they also have fresh eggs. My name is Kathy. I'm the face behind the camera. I'm part of a company called Heirloom Quartermaster. This morning I have fresh tomatoes, and I also have a lot of handmade items like blankets, which I've sold a few already this morning, and then I also have some jellies, face masks, soaps, other items that I've made at home. As I said before, your seed money allowed us to provide a stipend for Lydia Seeley, who is our marketing and hospitality intern for the summer. And now I'll let Lydia talk about all the things she's been able to do for us and all the things she's learned for us.
Hi, my name is Lydia Seeley. I'm a senior at the Prairie Street High School, and working with the Prairie Street Farmers Market, I have had a variety of jobs. So starting with Saturday morning, I am in charge of setting up the signs that we have been able to buy and create, and I set up the wonderful bright yellow tent, and I have this table here with different sticky notes and information sheets. And then also I count the number of people that we've had throughout the summer and the market. And so this year we've had about 800 people, which is a little bit smaller than last year and the last couple of years. We have ranged from about 25 people on a Saturday to about 75 people, and that depends on the weather, what kind of products we have that day. And then we also look at where they are from. So we've had people from Prairie, people within a half-hour-mile radius, 4 hours away, Milwaukee, Chicago, St. Paul, people from Iowa, and then we've also had people from Washington State, Arizona, Kentucky, Illinois, Louisiana. So we've had a wide variety, and along with those people, so those people are obviously tourists, and we've been able to provide information to them about Prairie, places to go, recommendations. And then another part of my job was providing awareness about this market. So I have set up different business cards around Prairie du Chien at the local downtown businesses and the hotels for people to take, and I've been refilling those, which is great. And through this market, we have lost some vendors, but we still had people, so I've been able to talk to people, gain experience with talking to people, having social skills, along with being a great resume builder. This job has provided lots of opportunities and a great experience for me in future plans I have ahead in the future, which is great.
Thank you. And I hope Lydia is going to be able to join us again for at least part of next summer until she goes away to college.
Yes, hopefully for the first half of the summer at least.
Yeah. All right. So thank you, Food, Faith, and Farming Network. We hope to see you next year.
Yay!
Well,
Our next project is the Soil Health and Diversity Project, an educational event for farmers to show how good soil health practices can benefit the environment and also help farm families to be profitable and sustainable over time. This is a project by the Grant County Rural Stewardship, but it benefited farm families far beyond Grant County. There were about 70 participants from throughout southwestern Wisconsin.
Donna, can you share with us a little bit more about your organization and its mission?
Sure. Well, the organization is just basically a community organization. It's made up of people who are interested in protecting and preserving the landscape of our county. The organization kind of rose out of a concern among local individuals to protect and keep our water safe, our surface water, our groundwater. We had seen a trend of some of the large mega farms, consolidations of small farms coming into the area, and kind of became concerned about manure spreading and things of that nature and how it might affect water. We have a mission, which is to protect the natural resources and beauty of Grant County through community outreach and promotion of sustainable practices to ensure quality water and healthy lands for diverse populations.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And I know that the event that you were able to put on in part due to seed money support was an offering of a set of tools for small farmers to be able to continue to be in business and do so in a sustainable way. Can you tell us more about that event?
Sure. The event was held last February at Southwest Wisconsin Technical College. They were one of our co-sponsors of the event. And what we wanted to do was to have farmers come in and talk to other farmers about practices that they use that we felt would be beneficial. We wanted to show small farmers that through crop diversity and through thinking outside of the box a little bit, that there are ways for those small farms to be economically viable and sustainable, and also that the practices that they use might be good for the environment, good for their neighbors, both locally and globally. And so we had 2 speakers come in, 2 different types of farm operations to present information and share information and answer questions.
Great. Can you tell me a little bit more about both of those speakers? Would love
Sure.
to hear.
Scott Merica is from Grass Dairy LLC. He's in the Dodgeville area, and he farms in partnership with another individual. They milk about 200 crossbred cows. They utilize rotational grazing and a variety of crops. They include forage sorghum, winter rye, forage kale, oats, and peas. And the thing that's really different about their farm is that they market all of the milk that they produce through their on-farm cheese plant. And so they have some well-known cheeses that are marketed throughout the country and even in some international markets. They're able to milk seasonally. The cows are dried up during the winter months, so they actually have some time off. They found that the rotational grazing is a lot less work than what some of the farmers do, where the cows are confined and all of the milk, all of the food has to be brought in, all of the manure has to be hauled out. So it's something that, works well for them. And again, thinking outside of the box as far as how to market that milk, they have a lot more control over their profit.
Mm-hmm.
The other individual was Mike Miles. He's from Luck, Wisconsin. He started out with a produce and maple syrup operation. Those have been staples for him. But he's added animal husbandry as of 2009. And today he has steers, pigs, chickens, cover crops, which all help to build the microorganisms and produce tasty, healthy meat. A little bit different operation also because it's called the Anathoth Community Farm. It's actually a farm where people come and go sometimes to work on the farm, learn about farming, and work and live in a community setting.
Thank you so much for sharing. And so how did the seed money help you execute this event?
Well, it was vital to us being able to do this. We don't normally do any type of fundraising for our organization, and so we did have needs in terms of promoting the event, producing flyers, some beverages and things of that nature. Those were some of our smaller costs, but we also like to provide a stipend to our speakers because they put a great deal of time into producing their presentations and travel and so on. So having that money made it possible for us to put this event together, and we're very appreciative of it.
How did the project help you nurture connections with other organizations?
Well, because we needed to promote the event and we wanted to bring farmers into the event, we reached out to organizations like Organic Valley, Farm Bureau, Farmers Union, which actually Scott and Mike are both members of Farmers Union here in Wisconsin, and a variety of other organizations that could help us to promote the event. And also just taking posters around to the various businesses that serve farmers. So that helped us to get to meet people in the community and kind of get our organization's name out there too, so that hopefully as we continue to try to offer these types of events, we'll keep drawing a few more each time or a few different people each time and kind of grow the idea of what it is regenerative agriculture is really what we're trying to get across to farmers here, and using different speakers and some different ideas in each of these events.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing more with us today, Donna.
Thank you.
Okay, you have seen 4 of our projects on video at this point in time. We're going to take a bit of a break right now for what we view as networking. So this is a chance for you to ask questions of each other, learn from each other, share more detailed experiences if you have questions that need to be answered. And we'll come back and view the other videos, the remaining videos, after a brief period of question and answer. So what are your questions? What are your comments at this point in time? Jay? Jay Salinas, do you have a question or comment?
A comment. I'm very impressed. I mean, I'm a board member here, so I'm pre-programmed to appreciate the efforts here. But I have to say, in all honesty, I'm really thrilled to be a part of the organization that supported these endeavors. They a modest amount of money that we've been able to provide, but you can see that these recipients have been really wise stewards of the resources they've been that we've shared with them, and the work that they're doing in community is in their communities is in any time would be really important. But during this particularly turbulent time in our nation's and state's history, these are some really hopeful projects, and I look forward to seeing what happens, when we're able to move about more freely on the surface of the world, the surface of the planet in a few months. So congratulations to all of the recipients, and a nice job here too, Roger. Really good job moderating. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments, questions, things that come to mind at this point in time, Cindy?
I just want to, in particular, because of the organization that I'm involved with, the Southern Driftless Grasslands, the idea of providing a tour like the Hill and Valley, that is amazing. That is something we've spoken about in our area now for a long time, and no one really knows how to get it off the ground. And wow, that was very inspiring. Thank you. That's a great way to use just a tiny little, like you said, just use that strategically, and you can make a big difference.
So touch base with Lisa Butt now to learn more about how they organized their tour. Yeah. I think it really is a wonderful project. So yeah. This is a wonderful opportunity for the two of you to network with each other.
Thank you.
Other comments, questions? Oh, Lisa, you want to?
Oh, no, I have no questions. Sorry.
Okay. Trudy?
Yes. Is there anyone there? Is there anyone there that can talk a little bit about what was called the Double Up program?
Yes, the Dodgeville Double Up program. We did. That was the second video that we showed, Judy, and basically it's an opportunity for people who are on WIC or SNAP program or senior vouchers to get coupons that are worth double the amount that they would be otherwise. So a $5 coupon is worth $10, and the subsidy is provided through the funding that we gave to the Dodgeville Farmers Market. Does that make sense?
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Sure. Yes. Is that Marie Louise? You're muted, Marie Louise.
Okay, here we go. I'm so impressed, having been with the organization since the beginning and being a board member for a number of years, the way that it has evolved because of meeting with people and listening to people's needs and then working with that. I am so impressed with where the organization is at this point in time. And thank you all board members, current board members.
Well, thank you. Trudy, Jenny.
I have a question for Donna, which is what are plans for this coming year given COVID? I know your gatherings are usually early in the spring, or late winter. Just wondered if you have thoughts about doing it virtually and what topics you might be covering, and or if you're going to take a year off or go later in the year or what.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're not planning anything for this spring. We really feel like doing it in person is the way we need to go with it. And we're kind of hoping that we can do a couple of things once COVID has passed that might help draw people back into the thought process about some of the things that we're trying to get across. Oh, got a fly flying around me. We have a couple of movies. We showed a movie last year called The Biggest Little Farm, and we got a theater full of people and a lot of enthusiasm about it. And there's a couple other movies that we think we might try to show maybe in the fall or early winter, leading up to maybe then doing another spring in-person program. We really need to do the program in the spring just because farmers are busy, all the rest of that time. So we have to really do it in February or March. And we feel like we need to do it in person, and that's just not going to happen, I'm afraid, at this point in the COVID pandemic.
Thanks, Donna.
Here's a note from Kathy. Thank you, FFN, from Prairie Street Farmers Market.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that your seed money, it was like a win-win-win because, of course, the market benefited from having an intern, and she really benefited. You could tell, I mean, high school seniors just don't have that ability to come out and talk to strangers walking on the sidewalk. I mean, some of them do, but most of them don't. And you could tell over the summer, she really progressed and grew. And then one of the things she said right after we made that video, we talked about, what was good, what was bad. And she said she loved it, but she wouldn't have been willing to drag herself out of bed on a Saturday morning if it wasn't for the stipend.
Okay. Any other comments before we move on to our next set of videos?
Roger?
Yes.
I attended the Southwest Conference of the United Church of Christ, Southwest Wisconsin Conference of the United Church of Christ 2 years ago, I think, or 3 years ago. And,
this is Nancy Tubasing.
Yes, I'm Nancy Tubasing. I'm from Madison, or Middleton. And I sat around it with a table of people talking about the issues of service in general to people in Southwest Wisconsin, including what can we do for the homeless? How can we get people to their doctor's appointments? What about transportation networks and so forth, and a whole host of issues. And I am really interested in if the faith communities in these various areas have been supportive to your projects and what we've been trying to do. I'm also a supporter of this Food, Faith, and Farming Network. So are we getting the faith element involved in addition to having a farmer's market in the parking lot of a church?
Yes, thank you, Nancy. Good point. Cindy, are you responding to that?
Yeah, I just want to, I have had a very wonderful interaction with the Cowboy Church in Mineral Point. I reached out to them when I realized that that the things that we are trying to promote, rural communities, clean water, and thriving farming and community health, they adhere. That's a core for, of course, all all sectors of religious belief, but with the way that they have their place set up, it's all about ranching and farming. And they were so welcoming to me, and have been supportive for the last year. Both, it created a relationship between the Cowboy Church and the organization that I work for, Driftless Area Land Conservancy, that has moved forward. And we have discussions about land protection with them. So I'm just sharing that. It took me reaching out, though. I will say that I had a lot of partners who felt it was a little strange to involve the faith community in our discussions. And I feel that that's inappropriate. I think that we have a lot of common ground that we can all be talking about. And the Cowboy Church for me was an example of that actually, happening very easily. And I hope to see more of that moving forward.
Yeah. I could just also recommend to any of you who are looking for people for input that my friend Pat Leavenworth is from Mineral Point, and she worked for the Department of Agriculture in Washington, and she also served as the Food and Soil Conservation Director for the state of Wisconsin. And I don't think she got a response back to get linked into this. I don't think she's here, but I'll pass that word on. And I think that she would be interested in participating in projects that you all might be like the speaking bureau kinds of things. And she's a smart lady and is really committed. She's a farmer herself too. So anyway, Roger we can connect through Roger if that's.
Okay, that sounds good. Thanks for your question, Nancy. I think you've raised a wonderful point, and we need to keep working on bringing the faith dimension into everything that we're doing. And so thanks for reconnecting us with that. I think we better move on. We would like to show all of the videos, so I think we better move on in the interest of time, and then there'll be an opportunity for question and answer after the next set of videos as well. Yes, Lindsay.
Can I just note one thing? Cindy was messaging me. She volunteers to do her presentation a little bit shorter live this evening since she's with us, and she says she's much more entertaining live. So we can do the Taliesin video, and then we'll let Cindy present live if that's all right.
Okay. So the next project is the Food Artisan Kitchen Garden. This is a work-study program at the Frank Lloyd Wright Visitor Center in Spring Green. It trains students to use foods grown on the Frank Lloyd Wright property and other local foods, and preparing seasonally inspired meals for use in the on-site cafe at Taliesin. So the project is up and running now.
Welcome to Taliesin, Frank Lloyd Wright's home estate in southwest Wisconsin, an 800-acre estate that encompasses his home, a farm, and a school to this day. Farming has been part of this estate ever since the ancestors of Wright settled in this valley, farming the land and building community. This very plot is the plot that continues to be used as the Taliesin Kitchen Garden to this day. Every early spring, the fields are prepared for a new planting. It is about 1/3 of an acre that can be used for the community Taliesin Kitchen Garden. This year, despite the COVID pandemic, we were able to continue the Taliesin Kitchen Garden because of the generous support of Seed Savers Exchange, as well as a grant from the Food, Faith, and Farming Community Network. A family of Taliesin residents was able to prepare the fields and plant the first seeds, as we were not able to bring staff and our Food Artisan Immersion Program students onto the estate due to COVID pandemic during the month of April and May. But finally, as our first crops emerged from the soil, we were able to bring our new kitchen garden coordinator Abby onto the estate, as well as Selena, who has been the Food Artisan Immersion Program coordinator for the past 3 years. And finally, travel allowed it, and we were able to bring our 5 Food Artisan Immersion students onto the estate, joining us from England, Illinois, New Jersey, and Wisconsin. Now the kitchen garden work was in full swing, with planting, weeding, and mulching, preparing the first crops that then would come to the Riverview Terrace Cafe of the Frank Lloyd Wright Visitor Center, to providing our visitors with some grab-and-go menu. At the Riverview Terrace Cafe, Chef Sandra taught the students how to utilize the produce from the garden and make it part of the grab-and-go menu that we served to our visitors this year during the COVID pandemic year. Herbs, lettuce, and early sugar snap peas, for example, from the garden, became all part of the menu. Here you can see the salad of the moment that we served at the cafe. Throughout the entire season, we invited guest speakers to join us and teach us about certain issues and topics. Here we were joined by Gary Zimmer, founder of Midwestern BioAg, teaching us about soil and the importance about taking care of the soil. Another time, we were joined by Molly Yan from Yan Research Group in Madison, Wisconsin, teaching about plant breeding and plant science. The work in the kitchen garden continues, and it continues to be a great learning environment for our students. Our kitchen garden is operated fully organic, which creates a beautiful, healthy environment for people, plants, and animals alike.
Lenny, what are you doing?
Weeding the potatoes, picking out some bugs.
Are they doing pretty good?
They're doing really good.
Good.
Morning.
How's it going?
Good. We are looking for Colorado potato beetle, and looking for the adults, and looking for any eggs that might be laid underneath the leaves. So we're just checking all the plants and making sure they're doing well.
Excellent.
As more produce becomes ready to be harvested and can be brought into the Riverview Terrace Cafe kitchen, it all finds its way into the beautifully and carefully prepared menus to serve our visitors at the cafe. Living on the Taliesin estate is a great part of our program, and to become community and be part of a greater community is all embedded in the Food Artisan Immersion Program. Due to the great toll that the pandemic took on our organization and the cafe in particular, we had to close the cafe on August 1st. Yet the students decided to stay on and finish the program throughout the fall, and continue their learning with Odessa Piper, the creative consultant of the Food Artisan Immersion Program at Taliesin Preservation. Odessa continued to teach the students virtually in virtual labs from her home in Boston about farm-to-table menu design and culinary labs, while Selena, our program coordinator at Taliesin Preservation, continued labs in the kitchen with the students, utilizing most of our produce from the garden. At this point, we also had a great partnership going with our local food pantries as well as the River Valley High School gardens. As those students were not able to enter the high school, our Food Artisan Immersion programs would take care of both gardens, harvest all the produce that was coming in, and bag it up so it could be provided to our local families through the Arena Food Pantry. To date, we have been able to bring over 330 bags to local families through our partnership with the food pantries. We greatly thank all of our supporters, farm alliances, local community members, staff members, and students for their belief into this program and continued support to this program. Thank you all.
Okay, our next project is the Southwestern Wisconsin Grasslands Network. And I understand Cindy is going to be providing live narration for the PowerPoint that she submitted earlier. So Cindy, take it away. You'll need to unmute yourself. And Lindsay, are you ready with the PowerPoint?
I'm gonna share my screen here.
Okay.
And I just want to do, oh, whoop, hold on a minute. Hold on, let me just turn off that feed for 1 minute, please. I'll have a break here.
You're muted, Cindy.
I'm going to give you a minute while I'm just going to turn off my audio so that I can speak behind the screen. So it just will take me 1 minute, please. Okay, now I believe I have that that done correctly. Here we go. Can you all see this?
Yep.
Okay, great. Thanks for that few minutes. That I got a little flushed there, having to work through that, but we got this going. The Southern Driftless Grasslands is a new name for us. We were prior the Southwest Wisconsin Grasslands Network. We decided to change the name. That has a lot to do with a sense of place, because the network is a public-private partnership that works particularly in Southwest Wisconsin. And we believe that grass is good. Grass is good for rural communities. It is good for rural economies. It's good for wildlife and also for the quality of our water. And so the partnership is made up of a number of different state, federal, and county agencies. The ones that are listed here are my primary partners. I serve as the coordinator currently for this partnership. And we had partnered with the Food, Faith, and Farming Network to help us do something we were calling the Conservation Roadshow. And I had grand ideas of taking a presentation to our local rural communities and talking about all of the amazing different ways that people can integrate conservation programs and practices onto their property. We had it set up to do small focus group sessions with various both farmer types and then also residential landowners, so they could learn perhaps a little bit more about working with the renters that are renting their lands. And COVID came and everything that we had set up just went right out the door, as we all know. So we had to basically switch focus. And we had a number of very large programming opportunities planned, and we really had to shift that. And so we decided to focus on our communication pieces that that we knew would help us moving into the future. And so instead of a conservation roadshow where we would be working with organizations and communities on the ground, we decided to put our time in developing ways that we could reach people through print and also online resources. So one of the first things that one of the main things we've been doing this year is we produced what we are calling the Conservation Partners and Programs Guide. And this is available for everyone on our website, but also in paper form for free. It is a reference directory for farmers and landowners in Southwest Wisconsin that includes information on a number of habitat and natural resource concerns on your land, but also ways that you can source technical and financial assistance if you have questions or if you would like to implement certain conservation programs on your property. The other thing that we did, which really involves our initial engagement with the Food, Faith, and Farming Network, is this publication. It's called Landowners Matter. And with a series of surveys and also interviews with local community members, we did something very similar to the outreach effort that the Food, Faith, and Farming Network did to understand better what were obstacles or obstacles and reasons that people actually were involving themselves in conservation programs in the region. And so we were able to put together this publication and actually, execute. We had about 100 survey responders, 15 interviews with local civic leaders, and about 40 partners also provide to me their input as to things they would like to see happen in the area on local farms and local private lands. We also put our time and energy into these exhibits that are available for anyone to use in the local area. They are amazing, 7-foot tall, 3-foot wide, two-sided pop-up exhibits that are available for libraries. They're available for events. It was a collaborative venture between Madison Audubon Society, ourselves, as well. Trying to think of the Iowa County Conservation Department really assisted with some of the text writing. And the 6 panels speak to these different subject matters that are listed here. So it was, I'm so excited to get these out to the general public when we can host events again. But for right now, they're sitting in my office, unfortunately. We have a lot of things that we're looking at into the future. We're realizing that we are best to keep our events to either webinars or very small, localized community events. And so we're seeking new ways that we can create what we're calling learning hubs, where we can talk over fences and we can talk outside and we can share stories and also resources amongst neighbors. That is where people seem to be most comfortable during COVID, and moving forward, I think it's going to be a very important tool for us for trying to get folks to work together on a small scale. So we wouldn't have been able to have done that, the Landowner Matters project, and also even start thinking about the Conservation Roadshow without the seed money that we received from Food, Faith, and Farming. Those were not things that we had in our budget. And those have been extremely telling for me. Having those surveys was extremely important, and it brought to our attention a lot of things that we were not aware of, were both issues and obstacles for people in implementing conservation on their properties. And at the same time, the Conservation Roadshow, even though we didn't do it, we realized we had new strategies, and we made new we made new neighbors through that by reaching out to people, and we now have other people that we can start speaking to in the future because of the way that we had to strategically shift our messaging. So that is all I have. I will stop screen sharing here.
Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
Our next project is the Sauk County Conservation Network. This is a project to coordinate the conservation efforts of 50+ agencies and organizations in Sauk County through development of a website and a searchable directory of groups. Again, it's in Sauk County, and it's designed to connect groups that are concerned about conservation.
Hi, Gretchen.
Hello.
Thanks for talking with me today. So to start, I would love to hear more about Sauk County Conservation Network, your work, your mission. Can you tell us more?
Well, the group was organized in 2016, and it was set up in order to foster broader understanding and of conservation issues in Sauk County and bring organizations with similar ideas together on the same page and help promote those other organizations as well. Basically to open lines of communication among conservation organizations.
Great. Can you give us an example of some of the organizations that you work with through your network?
Well, we're very interested in it's a young organization and we still are kind of finding our way. So we're not completely established, but we have been kind of promoting the prairie enthusiasts. We've been communicating with the Aldo Leopold Foundation, various organizations like that, and the Worm Farm Institute we're very interested in working with as well.
That's great.
So, and there are a plethora more organizations that we're going to be adding links to on our website as well.
Wonderful. It's really important work because everyone doing work in isolation is great, but having a network that unites everyone towards some common goals is so important.
Yes, and you know, we find that things come across our Facebook feed all the time or through our emails, but they're all kind of in bits and pieces. And the role of the Sauk County Conservation Network here would be to kind of help put those bits and pieces into one place where people can more easily access them.
Mm-hmm. So a tool towards that end is the website you're developing. So can you tell us more about how you got into this project, which the seed money supported, and what you're hoping the website will do?
Well, the main goals of our website are to have a calendar that representatives of different organizations can go into and submit activities that will be happening. We're also looking towards putting in a volunteer portal where hopefully we can help drum up volunteers for some of these organizations. So again, an organization representative will be able to click on a form, fill it out, and submit it to us for an activity like, say, trail clearing or controlled burns or prairie seed collecting. And then people can, who are interested in volunteering for that activity, can submit something and sign up. And then those hours would be tracked for that organization. And yeah, so we would be kind of a portal, a volunteer portal for different organizations. Yeah.
That's great. And how did the seed money grant make this project possible for you?
Well, we basically had no budget whatsoever. So, and we had previously started working on a website, but it never came to fruition and was not fully published. So the seed grant money was able to help us. We'll be able to have this published in mid-December, online maybe sooner.
So we're gonna now give our viewers tonight a bit of a preview of the website itself. So let's take a look, and if you can walk us through the offerings of the website a bit, that would be great.
Okay, so the very first page, we have just kind of about our organization a little bit and Sauk County, the area that we are kind of encompassing, and our mission. and that's the very first page that comes up. So we will have activities going on as an organization. We generally have an annual meeting. Obviously, this year we did not do it because of COVID, and our annual meeting in the past year was set up to be followed by a roundtable in spring, which was more of a one-on-one discussion of specific topics that came out of our annual gathering. And then we were looking at doing a field day as well in the summertime. And then we have contacts where basically anyone who is interested can contact us directly if they just have a simple question. We have a couple different contact forms in here. One is to get involved with us. One is just to contact us with some information that you want to tell us. And then one would be a contact for the volunteer form as well. And then under news and alerts, we are developing that page a little bit more. So we have a page that is local government involvement, and that's basically gives all the contact information for our local Sauk County townships. So people can go in and see what's going on within their township, and it's basically an encouragement to get involved in your own township activities. So they can click on these links and link into their township websites as well. Yes, we have a featured photographer.
Here they are.
Our first one is Steve Meyer from Baraboo. He was generous enough to share a lot of photos with us. So we have decided that we're gonna include a lot of Sauk County photos on this page, and if we have other photographers who wish to be featured, then we'll put them in there as well, and links to their website so we can promote some of these people who do such a fantastic job of capturing the Sauk County beauty.
And this will be live about mid-December. Everyone can check it out and sign up for updates and to get engaged starting around then.
Yep. Play around, explore around with it. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact us. Any of these contact forms will be going to our email. And we'll be checking those out and trying to get back to them just as soon as possible. So
great. Well, Gretchen, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right, the next project that we have is Stronger Together Farmer Suicide Prevention Project. It's a project designed to prevent farm suicides in southwestern Wisconsin through monthly educational sessions, which help to reduce the social isolation that farm families are experiencing during this farm crisis. It covers much of southwestern Wisconsin, and we think it'll be a very helpful thing for farmers that might be feeling stressed out and somewhat depressed by the farm economy at this point in time.
Hello, my name is Dan Wegmiller. I am a fourth-generation Wisconsin dairy farmer here in Greene County, Wisconsin. I milk about 50 brown Swiss dairy cows, farm about 350 acres. Certainly, in the last few years, we have not been immune to the issues facing American agriculture. The issues of farmer depression and farmer suicide certainly cut in a very deeply personal way. I believe that at the epicenter of these issues is the very simple concept of connectivity. As farmers, we have lost our connection to the land, we have lost our connection to the animals, but most importantly, we have lost our connection to the very people, the very consumers, and the very communities that we're supposed to be serving in the first place.
I mean, farmers are stubborn people. I mean, they won't take, you know, sometimes we're, despite our, I mean, we may have health issues that we just ignore. You know, if it's hanging by a thread, you know, wrap it in duct tape. And maybe if you're hanging on by a thread, you know, just, you know, people might use something else to handle the stress. Not good things. You know, drinking would be one. Anger issues might be another. So, I mean, if, you know, you were saying going to people that know what you're going to, maybe it's a little bit easier to bring it out in the open. Well, like today, there was, I can't remember who said it, but they said you have to have your trusted advisors. You have your nutritionist, your veterinarian, you have all those people. And if you have a meeting like today, they can be one of your touch points to get some information. Even if you take 1-2 things home out of, you know, even the whole series, you've gained something. And we're not, well, we don't have enough time to gather all the information. And if they can put it together in a short, concise way, it's useful to us because, you know, they probably did, what, 20, 30 hours of setting this stuff up so that we could have 1 hour once a month to come in and get it. So it's helpful.
Okay, our final video is the Artist Residency on the Farm. This is a program aimed at providing critical time and space for artists to create their good works. And it also partners with local farmers to provide residents with locally produced farm-to-table meals. This is a project taking place in Lafayette County on a Darlington farm.
So one thing that makes the residency experience stand out so much to me is the way in which food became a gathering mechanism for the other residents. So every lunchtime and every dinner time, we would all collect and eat together. And it wasn't just the chance to gather and talk about our work and discuss the day and get to know each other better, but it was that facilitated by this incredible food we ate we knew exactly where it came from. We could taste where we were. That was so amazing. So the experience became this totally immersive thing where we were like eating and living and really being in the place where we were.
Integral to the mission and the vision of Residency on the Farm, to create safe spaces for artists to come and create, is food. We felt from the beginning that to provide space for somebody to truly experience their own art, we needed to feed them, and we needed to feed them well. And We wanted to offer ways for people to access the land that they're visiting in Southwest Wisconsin. And one of the ways that we knew that could happen was by providing locally sourced food for people. And we've seen unbelievable results because of that. The food and the land also become a collaborative part of their experience and something that they take when they leave. We see a dedication to fostering local agricultural markets and creating connections between those markets, as well as bringing knowledge of those markets to a wider audience, to our residents and to the people that they know. That's core to what we're doing.
I think, well, anytime that I'm making food and sharing food with somebody, it brings a sense of community. And just the fact that during winter, you think of Wisconsin, it's below zero, it's cold. It's like, really, we're gonna eat local? Like, what's locally available? And again, it goes back to, wow, you can eat pretty darn good in Wisconsin locally. It fosters a deeper relationship with those farmers and those businesses to include them in something that's happening, like the art residency. And then there's always that domino. When something else comes up, they might think of me, like, oh, April caters. Maybe she wants to feature our cheese in this event we're having in the park. Or, you know, for a couple of the desserts, I backed out and let somebody else do that, Kelly, and now she has started a business baking. That's a pretty big deal. And she's sticking to local ingredients and seasonal ingredients. And she is now connected to some local grain producers, and they are considering, Kelly is part of the farm, 5th generation farm now. They're considering growing wheat that she could possibly bake with in the future. So it's like, it starts off small and then it has this capacity to build into something.
As a Chicago resident, I feel very connected to the Midwest as a region, and I feel like it informs my work a lot. And so having the chance to really dig into my artwork in a place that is so beautiful, so engaged with not only the land, but food systems and the people who live and work on the land in the place where I live, has been really significant to me personally and to the development of my work.
I remember serving a dish and it was collards and ham. And, you know, it was all cooked together, but I just left the bones in the dish. And one of your artists was like gravitated toward that bone and had some sort of connection with it and wanted to do something with it. My intention was just like nutrition and connection and just a little bit of like, hey, maybe they'll put this all together. And it just led to something that I hadn't anticipated, that the bone was seen as a piece of art, and that's beautiful.
Right now, we're having to put a lot of our work on hold, but we see that the other part of our project that we wanted to use this funding for, which was during our summer residencies, figuring out how to make sure that not just lunch and dinner, but also breakfasts are locally sourced. That's work that we can continue as we prepare for the future when we might be able to have a residency again. To be able to say, I know where this lettuce came from, I've met the person that grew this chicken. If I wanted to, I could drive over and meet this cheesemaker. That's a powerful experience that changes the way that you communicate and changes the way that you think about what you are making. We think it's a powerful experience that can change economies, and we want to be a part of that.
Okay, you've gotten a brief glimpse of 9 of our seed money funded projects, and we hope this gives you a good sense for what we've been up to for the past year. I personally am impressed with the kind of thing that's happening with each of these seed money grants, whether it be $1,200 or $1,500. It's not a lot of money, but it's doing a lot of good in small rural communities. We wanted to leave some time for question and answer following these videos, but we also wanted to end this session by 8:30 so that we didn't keep people all night. So are there any burning comments or any burning questions that you'd like to raise at this time? And I'll say that we do want to share the contact information for each of the projects a little bit later. So you will have a chance to connect with project leaders. Any burning comments or questions? Nothing burning? Okay, well, this brings our Seeds of Hope videos to a close. On behalf of the Food, Faith, and Farming Network, I would like to thank everyone for joining us tonight. Thanks to all the seed money grant representatives for partnering with our projects and for developing the videos that you developed and for being online tonight to be a part of this networking experience. Thanks to the Sinsinawa Dominicans and the Alliant Energy Foundation for their financial support for our seed money grants. And a special thank you to Lindsay Sheridan for her technical support in producing this video conference and pulling the various video segments together into a coherent whole. We're happy to announce tonight that we will again be offering seed money grants for 2021. We encourage teams of people from Southwestern Wisconsin to consider applying for this, our 3rd round of grants. Applications are due January 15th, 2021, and announcements about the successful grant recipients will be made by late February. Farmers market projects can focus on a variety of different issues: local foods, sustainable farming, farmers markets, local food systems, transitioning farms to the next generation, agricultural processing facilities, training farm and non-farm labor, or fostering rural community development initiatives. But keep in mind that 3 criteria will be important in our review of grant applications. We'd like to have you go where the energy is in your community, to address important community issues, and to build a network of individuals and groups that address these issues. Keep in mind that this is seed money with a maximum grant of $1,500. We're hoping to see a good number of exciting applications. Finally, we invite your support of our Food, Faith, and Farming Network, your financial support, your support by service on our board of directors, your ideas for how we can be more responsive to the needs of farm families, faith communities, and/or rural communities. You can use our website, which is on the screen right now, www.foodfaithandfarmingnetwork.org, to apply for a 2021 seed money grant or to signal your support for our network. Our website is also your best source for information on our network and programs. Check out our resource page for a paper on the current situation with Wisconsin agriculture. We truly hope to hear from you, and thank you again for joining us tonight. It's been our pleasure to provide this Zoom conference, and we hope you found it to be a good experience. Again, thanks for joining us tonight. Good night, all.
Good night. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Lindsay,
Roger.
Judy.
Thank you. Good night.
Night. Good night.
Take care.
Thank you.
Yep. Bye-bye.